Hey everyone, this is Andrew. As most of you know, I'm a realtor in Southern California. I have on here today Fernando. And what we're going to do today, the purpose for this call is to discuss a couple of things on how you can earn more income or add more space to your living area, wherever you live, if you own it. And the state of California, as we all know, has very low housing supply and high demand, which causes rental prices to go up extremely. And because of that, the state of California has loosened some restrictions so that people could start building accessory dwelling units, which is very known for ADUs. And there's a lot of popularity right now. There's a trend going on. And for that, Fernando, if you can please explain what an ADU is in depth, and then also explain your role as well, what you do for a living.
Okay, so my name's Fernando Solis. I've been designing ADUs or additions for about approximately 6 to 7 years. A little bit of background about myself is that I used to work for cities. Once I graduated college from Cal Poly Pomona in urban planning, then I started working for cities. I worked for the city of LA, city of Rosemead, which is mostly all LA cities, city of LA, then the city of Almani, and then after my last city that I worked at was the city of Beverly Hills. Oh, I'm sorry. And then I also worked at the county of Riverside, which was my most recent job.
That's a lot of cities. Wow. That's a lot of experience.
Yeah, a little bit. So I was in cities. I was doing city work for about 7 years, and I was an urban planner. So I would review all the new construction that was happening, also stuff that went to the planning commission, which would require special review, something like about maybe like 70 units or 5 units or just 2 units. So I would present that before the planning commission. But I could say that my most interesting job was the city of Beverly Hills. I was a planner at the city of Beverly Hills. And what we did there was I reviewed all the architecture for multifamily and commercial. So any project that would come, I would review the architecture. So I would work with the architect and to figure out what was the best project for the city of Beverly Hills. So in addition to commercial, we also did multifamily. So I got to see a couple ADUs in the city of Beverly Hills. There weren't anything like other ordinary ADUs, right? Which are 400 square feet. These were 2-story, 2,500 square foot ADUs. But nonetheless, that's a little bit about the work. And I also have my master's in public administration. Really not something that I do now because I do architectural design and commercial design. But at one point, I wanted to be a city manager. So I went to go get my master's from Cal State Northridge.
Well, it doesn't hurt to have that, right?
Yeah.
So then now you have your own separate business where you're helping a lot of homeowners or even someone that's looking to buy a property or multifamily property, and they add these accessory dwelling units, right?
Right.
So, and can you explain what they are a little bit more in detail? Some people call it granny flat. There's a lot of different terms for it.
Sure. So like you were saying, it's very hot right now. Everyone wants to build an ADU. Our office, we process maybe around from 6 to 9 ADUs a month. So from everywhere, from kind of like LA County, northern LA County, maybe like Sylmar, Thousand Oaks, all the way down to our most southerly project is Escondido. And then our most easterly project is probably right off PCH. That's where we have a project there, which is right in Venice. And then our most easterly project is Moreno Valley.
Wow, so you guys cover a lot of ground.
We do cover a lot of ground. We have multiple people that design and also multiple people that go out. So we have engineering services, we have architectural service, we have expediting services. So basically our business is from the very beginning. So if you thinking you want to build an ADU, does it make sense? Can I do it on my property? Till the very end of, okay, the project's approved through the city and now you're ready to build. And then we also have contractors we work with very closely that we recommend. And we have multiple ones depending on where you live. Maybe you can live in San Diego or you can live in LA. I'm not going to give you an LA contractor if you live in San Diego or vice versa, or if you're in Riverside, I'm going to give you a Riverside contractor. Okay. We have very limited contractors that we work with because we like to keep, we like to kind of like not control everything, but we just like to know what the actual final product is. We want to make sure
you have to fit your standards.
Correct. From the very beginning to us, because remember, we do all the processing, we do the city process, we do the architectural plans, and then when we have them built, we actually go out to the site to make sure it's being built correctly. Or sometimes a lot of people say they cut corners, contractors cut corners, but we make sure they don't cut corners because we're on site.
Good.
We
now,
the site.
I know that ADUs is essentially a smaller residence, right? That from the primary residence, someone can it's either existing inside the primary residence or they attach it or it's something detached, right?
Correct. So the Assembly Bill 68 is what allowed all these new ADUs to be allowed. So there's two types of different ADUs. There's an ADU, which is an accessory dwelling unit, and then there's a junior ADU, which is a junior accessory dwelling unit. So
smaller,
basically,
right?
the junior. What was that?
The junior is smaller than the actual accessory dwelling unit.
Yes, the junior is. Every city's different, but generally, the junior ADU has to be attached to the house, and it has to be attached by a living wall. What do I mean by living wall? That means my bedroom's on one side, and then that same wall is shared by another bedroom or another kitchen. And the maximum square footage of that junior is 600 square feet. So you can either add 600 square foot addition to your house, and that becomes your new junior. Or for example, say I have a 2,000 square foot house, but I don't even use that. I don't even use 2 bedrooms of my house. Okay. Like I have a couple friends that have 2,000-3,000 square foot houses, but they only use 2 bedrooms because, they can't use the whole house. So they say, hey, why don't I convert 600 square feet of, 2 bedrooms and I put a kitchen in it. So for junior, you can have a kitchen, you can have a bedroom. It's going to be a little tight, and you can have kitchen, bedroom, washroom, anything that you would have in a regular house.
Separate entrance as well?
Separate entrance, everything. Sometimes what we do for juniors is we actually design a porch, like, porch on the side, or nice little walkway, and we actually fence off the property to kind of so it kind of looks like a completely separate house. So you never get to see your tenant, or you never get to see that person because they're either on the all the way side of the right side or all the way in the back, or, you don't have to share your space. A lot of people like their backyards, their front yards. So that's one.
Nice to have that privacy.
Correct. And then the second type of ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. And these are allowed in multifamily houses. So if you have 4 units, you can do an ADU. If you have 2 units, you can do an ADU. Or if you just have one house and you want to convert your garage, you can also do that. Or you say, you know what, I don't have a garage. All I have is my house, but I want to build an ADU. Do I need a garage? No, you don't need parking anymore. That's what this new law did. It kind of just wiped out parking. I know before last year, you couldn't do your ADU, or you could do your ADU, but you have to provide a porch, or you have to provide a certain square footage of house. Now, it doesn't matter most of the time. I would say most of the time, because the city has very special, you can't do this, you have to do that. But most of the time, 95% of the times, you can build an ADU. How big can it be? It can be anywhere from 400 square feet. That's your existing garage size typically. A 2-car garage is 400 square feet to 1,200 square feet. So 1,200 square feet is 3-bedroom house.
Yeah. That's massive. If you think about it, I didn't think of it like that. 3-bedroom house that you can build on top of, not on top of, or technically you could, but you build within that residence of that lot.
Or you could do 2-story. You could do garage on the bottom, and then you could do your 1,000 square foot house on top.
And then that's why I'm glad we're covering this today, because for the people that have already owned a primary residence, they could easily do this. But for someone that's, like the millennials that are coming up and wanting to own now, some of them are waiting for a while just to have enough down payment for to buy like a duplex, right? But a duplex is a lot more expensive than a single family in many ways, especially in many areas. So what the person could essentially do is buy a small home, right, for the first home, and then with time they can save up to build an ADU, and eventually they can rent it out and have that as cash flow coming in. So there's always an option where you're not just cornered in just living in a single family and not able to have that cash flow, you can always build an ADU and have your primary residence and then have that cash flow.
Right. And then some people, I know you're talking about 3%, you know, to buy a house. Sometimes people have more than 3%. And if your game plan is to do an ADU, but you have more than 3%, you have 20, you have 30% of whatever your down payment is. What I would do is I would put the 3% down, save the other 15%, right, that you have, because after closing costs, you know, and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
save the 15%, save a little more, and basically, you know, you could put all that money into your garage conversion. And that goes to our next point of I think we're talking about what are people doing now? What are most of my clients doing? So most of my clients that are doing ADUs are either they're ready to retire. Okay, people retire at different stages, or people have investment properties that they have 2 units on the property, they want one more, or you know, they have 2 units and they have 2-car garages, so they convert both. Now they have a 4-plex, right? So now that person that lived in a duplex now converts it into a 4-plex, and then he moves out, and then he buys his dream house. So I have one of my recent clients. That's what we did to him. He has a duplex. He's had it for about 15 years. We converted both of his garages. So now he has an extra $3,000 coming in. So now that covers his mortgage completely and some, because now he has 4
doors of cash flow, basically.
He has 4 years of cash flow. So now you could say his cash flow is maybe $4,000.
Okay.
Because his mortgage is only $3,000, but after all the rent's paying himself off, you know, he pockets $4,000. Well, at $4,000 mortgage, you know, plus 20% that he's gonna put down for the house, you know, he's gonna buy himself a big old house, you know, whatever. Or so that $3,000 mortgage at 20%.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Wow. So that's good. You're working with that clientele that's already on the way out towards that retirement, and that's kind of what they're doing now, and converting their garages or whatever it may be that they currently have right now, so they can move out and go to something that's more manageable for whatever type of life they want to live in retirement.
Yeah. Or like, say my mom would like to live with me. You know, she dreams of living with me, like in her
in your big nice house. Yeah.
But you know, maybe she owns a property. So what she can do is, and I have a lot of clients like this too, that they sell their $1 million property. They build like a beautiful ADU, right? And they buy a brand new house for their kids, you know, and that's how they live close to their kids. But it's completely separate, because they buy these properties that are so big, because they just sold their $1 million house. You know, they buy another one for $500-$600 in Riverside or somewhere out, you know, not so close to the city. Somewhere more affordable, you know, and now they have $500,000 cash, and then they build their dream 1,000 square foot house. But remember, at that age for retirement, you know, it's only them 2. So they want to see their grandkids. They want to be close by.
I see. So I think what you're saying is someone who's in retirement has like $1 million house or more, whatever it may be. They sell it, and then they end up building an ADU on their where their kids live, essentially. Correct. They build an ADU with the money that they have there, and then they bank on a ton of cash for retirement to save up, and in that way they have a lot of cash. They sold their $1 million home plus, and they have an ADU there with their kids, and they get to be taken care of by their kids, and then they can take care of their grandkids. That's
correct.
Wow.
We're doing one in Vista right now. Okay. They're building a 1,000 square foot ADU, and then they bought kind of like a 4,000 square foot house.
Got it. Okay.
They bought brand new. Oh no, I mean, it's not brand new, but I'm saying they bought a new house, 4,000 square feet house, and then they're building a brand new ADU, brand new garage, and the property is so big, it has 4 acres, I think. So big that you can't even tell that it's 2 houses. Yeah. Like, you can tell it's an ADU.
Yeah.
So people think ADU, oh, it's gonna be a tiny little, like no, like these houses is cute little houses, you know. Back in the day, 1,000 square foot house was kind of like the average.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, like we're talking way back in the day, like 50 plus years ago, right? Homes, they only had 1 bathroom too, most of them.
Yeah. one bath.
Simple.
Yeah.
So what's the cost generally for building a junior ADU, a regular ADU? And then once you cover the cost, if you can kind of go through the process. I know you have to go through city planning and building and safety. If you can kind of go into that, just so people kind of get an idea of what they need to work with.
Yeah, I had my notes right here. I don't know where they went. Anyways, okay, so typically, what we do is we do the process from the very beginning of design to the very end of building permit. So the first step would be designing with me. We think about what you want. You say, I want a 1-bedroom, I want a 2-bedroom, I want a laundry room, you know, I want an island in my kitchen, whatever the case is, right? That's the first step. Then the second step is going to the city and saying, hey, can we even do this project, right? Can we do this project? So yes, no, what are limitations? Then with whatever my client desires are, whatever they want, their garage or laundry room layout, whatever they want, plus what the city requirement, I put those together and I come up with a draft. I come up with my first draft, and then I present it to my client. And I present it, hey, this is what you wanted. You wanted the laundry room in this location. You wanted the bedroom of 14 by 14 with the walk-in closet. You know, this is reality, how it can look. And this is the city's requirements. So then after he says, you know what, that design was great. Let's go to the city. So then after I produce engineering drawings, calculations, I produce Title 24. And then I submit to the city. So I would submit full plans ready to build to the city. The city reviews the plans. And they say, oh, Fernando, you know, you got to do a couple corrections. You know, you got to add a couple notes, changes on the plans, and the project's approved.
This is through city planning, right? Department?
Yes, it goes through city planning first. After city planning says okay, it gets a clearance, and then it goes to the building department.
Okay.
And then the building department does the full review, where the building department will essentially send those plans to the planning, send those plans to fire, send them to sanitation, send them to public works, send them to the school district, or I'm sorry.
Make sure it's in compliance.
Correct. Make sure that the school district, really all they want is return.
Yeah.
So you have to pay the school fees, right? A lot of people know what school fees are, so pay the school fees, a couple $1,000, and then that gives you clearance to keep going with the process. So then at that point, our project's approved, right? So that's where my design services end, right? The architectural services end, because technically either the contractor can go pull the permit and says, okay, we're ready to build according to these, you know, legal documents, these plans, or the homeowner is like, you know what, I know how to build, you know, it's a small project, or hey, let me just do it, I want to take over, and becomes their like little hobby or something sometimes. Yeah. So,
but I would imagine they probably want to stick with the professional to build it up, right? I mean, unless they have experience. But
yeah, I just wanted to, you know, give you the options of what people have done in the past.
Got it. Okay. But so that was phase one, the design part, going through city planning, building and safety. Phase one done. Nothing's built yet. Then phase two is where you start building.
Correct.
Okay.
So phase two, the contractor will take over the project. He would start building. He'll, you know, grade, put the foundation, start building the walls, then the plumbing, electricity, and then build the roof, and then the insulation, and then, you know, little by little you start framing up the walls, and, you know, then after it finishes, and during the process, typically when I go is framing. So when I see the framing, I see sometimes we do vaulted ceilings, like very high ceilings, kind of like my house. My house has high ceilings. I don't know if you could see, but you can see
I can tell.
It's not a regular 8-foot ceiling.
Yeah.
It goes up.
Got it.
You know, so I would go inspect that. Oh, how's it gonna look? Oh, does it look good? Or, you know, sometimes there's some kind of areas.
Does the contractor pull the permits then in that phase two?
The contractor will pull the permits, yes.
Okay. With all the planning that you did in phase one.
Correct. My plans have the architectural, the engineering, and the energy calculations. It tells you what type of concrete hold on.
Ooh, no worries.
It tells you what kind of concrete, what kind of stucco you're gonna put on. Is it going to be wood siding? What kind of roof material? Is it going to be shingles? Is it going to be concrete tiles? What type of windows? Is it going to be like wood windows? It can be vinyl windows. So our plans will have everything documented. AC, what kind of AC? You know, do you want a mini split? Usually that's what we use. We use mini splits, or we use a full like regular AC system in the house.
Okay. So that's kind of where the fun is for the homeowner. They get to make all the planning and design it with you as the designer, right? In phase one, and then the builder starts to build it up. And then when did you say you get involved as it's being built up? When the framing's already done, you come in and make sure everything's in compliance from the plans, or?
Well, most of the time I don't have to go to the site because you know everything's already approved.
You're done.
Sometimes the contractor has questions of how to finish this corner, or hey, the wall doesn't go all the way to the top, it's a bolted ceiling, how do we finish the top? Do you want me to continue it all the way up? Do you want me to create a storage there? Just little stuff that sometimes is not shown on the plans or as legible, you know? Since I know
do you have contractors that you send your clients, that you have options for your clients, or?
I do. We have around 3 or 4 contractors.
Okay.
Depending
That's good.
on
so they get to bid on the project.
Typically when my project's almost done, when we submit the plans to the city, I give my client a PDF document, and he's welcome to share that document with whoever he likes because it's his document. And then in addition to that, I hand that over to all my contractors and I say, please bid on this project. And they have everything. They don't need to ask questions. Everything's on the plans. And they give me a price, and then I present it to our client, the property owner, and I let them know, hey, this person quoted this person quoted this, and this person quoted this. Sometimes they have their contractors that they work with. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes, most of the time, if a project starts with me and they don't have a contractor, at the end they do use our contractor.
Got it.
Because
now, go ahead.
I'm one call away. You know, I've been working with them through all this time, maybe like 4 months, 3 months, 5 months, sometimes a year. If a project requires special review, like we did a project in Ontario that required a special review. We had to tell all the neighbors because it was a 2-story ADU. There was a garage on the bottom, and then it was an 800 square foot house on top.
Wow.
So
on top of the garage.
Yeah. So technically it was the first 2-story building on the street. So we had to go through review, make sure all the neighbors were okay with it. I think there was some concerns that they didn't want a window facing to the other person's property. So we had to change the design a little, and the project was approved.
What is the typical time frame for let's just say a simpler ADU? When you work on an ADU, what's the time frame generally?
So the fastest I've ever done an ADU has been 30 days. I've got it
30 days
in 30 days.
Wow.
That was the fastest I've done. And that's because the cities were open.
You say approved in terms of approved through the city in 30 days? It gets approved within 30 days, or what do you mean by that?
Correct. The client, there was a case where, you know, it was non-permitted and everything was already built, and he needed me to go in there and get his unpermitted garage approved. So since I already knew exactly how he wanted it, because he already had it done, I legalized that garage in 30 days.
That's really good, because doesn't it typically take 60 days now? It used to be 120 days, and then with the new bill, it's now 60 days that they have to review things, right?
Well, they say 60 days, but it doesn't happen.
Not generally? Okay. But you had it within 30 days, which is great.
So it's funny, because that 60 days means they have to respond to you. Doesn't mean it has to get approved. Because remember, if they say, oh, you didn't show the plumbing detail, or oh, you didn't show where the tankless water heater's at, they can't approve it. So they have to respond to you within 60. Well, technically they have to respond to you in 30 days. But I don't know how the cities are addressing that, because realistically that doesn't happen. I have a project right now that's been 3 months, and we're almost getting it approved. Okay. With the cities being closed, 3 months.
Oh, that's right, because now the majority of cities are closed because of what's going on.
Correct.
How are you working that out? What's the
It's
difference now?
very,
What are you
very
doing?
difficult. No one answers their phones. It
Yeah,
takes 1 week to get a call back. So luckily we have contacts in that city. That's the city I used to work in.
that's what I'm
So
saying. It's important that all your experience from all these cities you used to work in, and then the last one being Beverly Hills, you have those relationships, I'm sure, that help. And
yeah. So we, I was in planning department in the cities. I was working in cities for about 7 years, 8 years. So, my relationships with, a lot of my old
you know a
coworkers.
lot of people.
I know a lot of people from LA, Southgate, Almani, Rosemead, Bowen Park, Temple City. There's so many cities that everyone I went to college with, they're all working in cities.
Wow, good. So
Yeah.
that's a major plus.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
Client.
It's very helpful because I could call people on their cell phones.
Wow. Rather than going through the office,
I just text them, hey, send me the code requirements for, I have this property, can I do it? And I'm there with the client and they text me, yeah, you can do it, go ahead. And then we sign a contract with the client.
Now, let's just say we have a client, right? I have a buyer. He buys a small, I don't know, let's just say 1,400 square foot single family home. And he says, hey, Fernando, I want you to build an ADU. What's the simplest and most cost-effective option I should take? What would you probably recommend?
Okay, well, first, I never like to do cost-effective because you're building something permanent, right?
Yeah.
I always want to say, just tell me what you want to do and we'll figure it out. We'll show me your budget and we can make it pencil out. But
what would you say? I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you're on a budget and in the most inexpensive way, because I don't want to say cheapest, because cheapest is the right way. But inexpensive would be just converting your garage. So your 2-car garage, converting it. So what we do is we don't break the concrete. That's our design. Our design is we don't break the concrete. Where your garage door is, we just put a little, call it like a stem wall, which is a little piece of concrete that goes all the way through where the garage door is. So now you have continuous footing all the way around. So wherever the opening is, that's where I put 2 windows. We leave your existing door, and then one of those windows will be a bedroom, and then the other window would be in the living room, right? And then I have plumbing all on one wall. So all on one wall, I would put my kitchen and my restroom.
Got it. And that would have its own separate entrance too.
Separate entrance, separate bills, separate water, gas, everything would be separate. And that right there will probably run you anywhere from 40 to 60,000. I think that's where my note said. I forgot what the last project. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry, 50 to 70,000.
50 to 70,000. Do you think it varies because of the city, the different regulations they have and fees?
No, not the fees. It varies more in where is your sewer, like how far is your sewer. So if you have a garage that's probably 10 feet away, as opposed to a garage that you're building 100 feet away, then that means I have to dig 100 feet, 3 feet below for my sewer. So the sewer is probably the most expensive part.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. And remember, sometimes some cities allow you to attach your sewer to the main house, or that sewer, you have to connect it all the way to the front of the street. So this project that could start with $50,000, now, the garage is 100 feet away, all the way in the back. I have a long lot. And they says, well, I have to break concrete 150 feet to get from the very back all the way to the street. So that's where your $20,000 savings went. Or not savings, but the difference between a $50,000
to 70
to a 70. Or what if I want marble countertops? Or what if I want specialty cabinets?
So depending on the customization will also vary. Okay.
Right. It all goes off. I just call it the finishes. So how would my house be finished? Do you want oak ceilings? A tongue and groove oak ceilings? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it varies. But very, very safe to say 50 to 70.
Okay. So then essentially, if someone like that hypothetical client buys that 1,400 square foot home, let's just say they convert the garage to an ADU, all legal, obviously, with your help, 60,000. If they rent it out for $800 a month, right, to just somebody, I don't know if that would be on the. Do you think that would be too expensive?
That's on the low side.
I want to be very conservative. So let's just say it costs $800.
Let's say $1,000. Let's say $1,000.
So $1,000 is, that's not bad.
A lot of people will pay $1,000 live in a nice 1-bedroom, 400 square foot garage, but it's not a garage anymore. It's an ADU, so it's an actual full house, just a very small house, you know, in close to downtown LA. You know, I mean, close to downtown LA, that's not the ADU price. But what I'm saying is, if you're very, very conservative, I know in Eagle Rock, ADUs are going for like $1,800.
Wow. Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
$1,800 or $1,500. Let's be conservative. $1,500.
So let me do the math on that real quick. $1,500 times 12 is $18,000.
Okay.
A year. So you spend $60,000.
In 4 years,
you will pay it off within 3.3 months. Let's just say, or 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. Let's just say 4 years. That's not bad because most people stay in their house. I mean, on average, it's about 10 to 12 years, but let's just say you leave in 7 years. You still have that cash flow of just making a lot of returns on that investment of $60,000 for 3 years.
Correct.
And on top of that,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
On top of that, you know, your house is worth an extra $100,000, $200,000 because now you have a duplex. You don't have a single family house now.
Yeah, so you're making cash in on the cash flow for those 3 years. And then if you sell it within that 7 years and make it those 3 years, you end up, your price appreciation on your home goes up.
Correct. And it's all on area.
Good.
You know, those prices, they vary.
Yeah, they are for sure.
I know someone that rents out their ADU in, and it's not legal. ADU.
Don't say it then. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying, you know, that because I went over there to fix it.
You converted it to be legal.
I converted it, yeah. And unpermitted ADU was going for $900 a month.
Wow. Dang.
And it's unpermitted. So
okay.
Permitted, nice floors, $1,200 for sure.
Yeah. I know I could see that happening for sure because the young people, they spend in some areas it's like $2,300 for a 1-bedroom. And if you get to have your own private entrance and not be in a huge complex and have your own kitchen, living area, and bedroom, and you're only spending, let's just say, $1,200, you're saving a lot of money right there.
Yeah, and they have backyard too. Most of the time we always design with small backyards. You know, and I say small backyards, it's probably like a 6 by 20.
Okay.
That's their backyard.
That's not bad if you have a little dog, just to go.
Yeah, little dog, play around outside, and then also inside. But
so not only does the homeowner benefit, right? The renter benefits because more supply happens in the rental market, right? And then rentals hopefully will come down a bit, but essentially that renter in particular will be saving money.
Correct. Yeah. So we have a lot of, we have different clients that do different things with ADUs, but ADUs are hot. They're hot, and
I'm seeing that
for a couple years. Can I show you the examples of a couple that we've done?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
Please.
So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, sorry. So I'm going to share my screen, right? Okay, so that's my motorcycle in the future. Anyways, so this is, oh man, closed on me. Okay, well, I guess I have to show all my files. So these are all our active files. So the one that I wanted to show was here in the city of Escondido.
That's San Diego, right?
San Diego, yeah. And this is a sample. I don't know what's going on. Oh, here it is. Everything's here. Sorry, here it is. Okay, so the city of Escondido, you know, this is a project that we're working on right now. That the main house is here, and the ADU is way back here. You know, 140 feet. You know, at the very
That's
end.
the backyard, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So talking about you know this is the main house, but then they have their own side entrance. You know, they park their car here, and this is their side entrance here, and this is their nice little walkway. You know, and then this is their ADU, and their ADU is approximately 600 square feet.
No, that's not bad.
This is a sample of the ADU. You walk in, open concept, island, and then you have your restroom, your bedroom, and then your walk-in closet and your washer dryer in your closet.
Sweet.
Right? And then you have, this is the front of it. You have a little porch, right? And then the second project is the one that has a combination of two. It has a 1,000 square foot ADU, and then it has a 500 square foot, 5,000 square foot junior. So for example, this here, this is the existing house, right? And this is the junior. This is a 600 square foot junior. The client wanted 2 bedrooms here, so we squeezed in 2 bedrooms, but it was one is a bedroom and the other one's his office.
Got it. So you squeezed that into the existing residence?
Correct. This is that shared wall.
Got it.
Right? And then, and these triangles are cars, how you're going to park your car, because remember, we have to fit as much cars as possible in the back. And then this is the back house. I'm going to zoom into it, which is here. So you come in, you walk in, open concept again. You have the island, the kitchen, the washroom. This one has 2 beds, 2 baths.
And what's the square foot? What'd you say?
1,025 square feet.
Got it.
So we have.
And I think the state of California guidelines too, and like we were saying at the beginning of this call, it depends on the city, but the state of California, it has to be the ADU has to be 5 feet from the property lines, right?
4.
4 feet now. Okay.
4 feet.
And it also depends on the city too, right?
Yes, but typically state law is 4 feet. So right here.
4 feet.
So 4 feet.
Oh, that's where you have the 4 there. I see.
Yeah,
Good.
that's why I have the 4 here, and the 4 over here on this side. Okay. So those are just 2 projects that I just pulled up that from the conversation. These are the projects that we had. So let me stop sharing. But every city has different requirements. When you're adding to the ADU, or when you're adding to your garage and you want to expand your ADU, you can expand. You know, sometimes the garages are right on the property line. You can't just keep expanding on that. You have to come in 4 feet.
Got it.
That's some cities. The county of LA, you can't even do that. You have to come in 4 feet, and then you could only add 150 square feet. Every city has their little twist to the state law, because remember, this is state law.
And that's why you're so important in that phase 1 with planning with the city. So you know all these specific guidelines that you need to follow so that the builder can end up following as well. So it's all approved. Yeah,
so we try to save time, and we try to also, well, it really is just time, because if I know all the rules and I know what you want, then I figure out, you know, what to design.
Now, once it's completely built, do you need to get like a certificate of occupancy by the city so you can start renting it immediately?
Correct. So once construction is finalized, right, after everything gets approved, the construction gets approved, then you get a certificate of occupancy saying that building is habitable to live in.
Great.
It's safe. Wow. It meets all the guidelines. It meets energy, and you can live in it now. So remember, the fire department goes, the city goes, building and safety goes, sanitation, you know, gets approved to sanitation. Edison goes. Well, for San Diego, it's what's San Diego? It's there's no Edison over there, right?
No.
There's
I don't know San Diego too much. I only know Orange County and LA primarily.
Our project. That's right. That's where I was like, oh, there's no Edison here. And then I figured out. I forgot what it is. It's on my notes.
You forgot the company name. It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good to know. Now, that's yeah. That's all.
I think
Do you
that
by chance have a rendering or a finished ADU on that you can easily open? If not, don't worry about it. But
I
so
do,
people can
but you
see,
know
maybe.
what? I have it on my iPad,
Oh, got it.
so it'll be. I think you'll be able to see it. It's
I
a
think so. Let's
it's
see.
a
Let's try it.
the big iPad. So these are. This is one of our clients. They actually built an ADU. It's actually really nice. I thought it was really nice.
So this is the interior of the ADU that you recently completed. Is that the garage door?
Yeah, this is the garage.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's
the
nice
garage door.
though.
The oak.
Oak. Wow.
Yeah.
And is it
So
so that's the
it's not
sink
the
right there.
garage door. This isn't the garage door. This is actually they framed it up and they put oak on it as like kind of like the siding.
But it was the garage door at one point, right?
But yeah, that's exactly where the garage door is.
That's
So
nice.
remember, we try to do the least amount of structural.
Got it.
So
And that's how
you
you
see,
keep costs down too.
yeah, that's how I keep costs down. You see, this is the AC.
Yeah.
You know, this was I think this is a year old, and then that is the restroom. Oh,
Can you bring it up a little bit more? There you go.
restroom.
That's
And then that's kind of another view.
uh,
And then that's kind of another view. And then
that's the
oh,
house.
this is another project. This is another project.
Oh, okay. What was the cost on that garage that you converted that you just showed us?
About 50, 55, because that's like
You
kind of like 55, 60 because of the door. Like
yeah,
that
you
custom paneling.
customized it.
Yeah, customized
You made
it.
it look better. Now,
Yeah.
what do you by chance have an idea how much that person's probably able to rent it out in that area?
Yeah, this client was into Airbnb,
Okay,
so it's only Airbnb.
got it.
I have a contractor that that has multiple ADUs in Claremont. I don't know if you guys know the city of Claremont, where all the university is at. It's a very I guess, visited. It's a high Airbnb area,
Okay,
and I think he has it rented out. Well, before all of this COVID-19,
coronavirus. Yeah,
it was rented out every weekend. It would give him double what someone would rent it at,
dang,
and it was only used on the weekends.
wow.
And it's
Okay.
an ADU.
And
So
it's an
he would,
ADU.
yeah. So not only would he rent out the ADU at Airbnb, he would also rent out the primary house as Airbnb.
Got it. Okay.
So he was having two. So basically, you know, he was paying off everything. He has three of them, I think. So
Well, this is a good source of making the extra money. This is really good with these ADUs and junior ADUs.
yeah. Sometimes
Okay.
you can fit, you know, the ADUs, you fit one bedroom. So on Airbnb, it sleeps four because the living room could be a like a pop-up bed, you know, like the couches.
Mm-hmm. What's the name of your company so people know where to find you and things like that if they have questions?
Here, here it is. It's VIEDesign Studio. So I'll show it to you.
VIEDesign Studio.
Can you see it?
Yep, I see it perfectly. Okay, fsolis at VIEdesignstudio.com.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm sure you'll write
I'll
all
put
that.
it in.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out in the video.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm sure people will have more questions, and they may ask me. I hope they ask you, though. But if they ask me, I'll send them over to you.
Thank you.
And
questions, they could just email me or call me. I pick up my phone.
I know you do. That's one of the few things that a lot of people don't do, and I like that about you. That's why I like working with you. So, all right. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.